Trail runners, welcome back to Chasing Gold. We're talking to some of the top runners coming to this year's Javelina 100, looking to chase those golden tickets to the 2024 Western States 100. On today's show, we have Zach Bitter. He's 37 years old, lives in Austin, Texas. He ran his first ultra at the TNF 50 mile in Madison in 2010, where he placed first in 6:02. He's sponsored by Ultra, S Fuels, Ultimate Direction. He's also a winner of the Javelina 100, where he set a course record back in 2016, 13 hours, 30 minutes. He was second in 2017. He's back again this year. Zach, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's good to be coming back to Javelina, and I guess there's more stakes on the event these years, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, back when you did the race in 2016, 2017, it was not yet a golden ticket race, so certainly continues to add to the excitement and to the field. Zach, you are no stranger to running Western States. You ran it in 2012. You placed 14th, and then back in 2018, you placed 11th. You've also been at a lot of golden ticket races. Tell us about your Western States experience. And is that one of your targets here? Are you trying to get back in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably my number one target is to try to get one of the golden tickets and get back to Western States. Western was actually my first 100 miler. I raced into it back when the Ice Age 50 mile was still a golden ticket event and was new enough to the sport where I didn't know that Western States was something that you don't pass up on. So after thinking about not doing it, I got told by a number of people I'd be an idiot to do that. So I took that spot and dipped my toe into the 100-mile distance for the first time. And yeah, that was 2012. So hopefully fortunes will favor me from a golden ticket standpoint and I can get back there for a third swing.
Nice. Yeah, looking back at your results, that it was back when it was the Montreal Ultra Cup. You placed first at that Ice Age 50 mile and then was third at Ice Age of 2013. So I'm assuming missed that slot by one. You also been out at the Lake Sonoma and then had an unfortunate off-course issue at Black Canyon 2018. So excited to see you back here. Let's talk a little bit about your training. I know that you had a pretty sizable injury this year, but it seems like you've returned to form and have been putting in some good training. How's everything looking right now?
Yeah, really good. I've had a sort of a series of injuries the last couple of years that have made it hard for just consistent racing, in my opinion, at least the way I like to do it. So this one went really well, though. The buildup has been great. I had one of my better, I think, peaking phases in the last couple of years, the last few weeks heading into taper here. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the day will produce out there. From a strategy standpoint, I think like being at Javelina a couple times in the past is useful. One of those years it was quite hot too. I think course record temps in 2016, if I remember properly. So I think I'm ready to take on whatever the weather throws at us as well. And I've been going through both like pacing data from my two races there, as well as some of them from the last couple of years, just knowing that the sport's evolving with it being the sport in general is evolving, but this event's evolving to being a golden ticket race now, just to kind of see like what a good target opportunity or a good target strategy would be for me. And I think like the one thing that stood out to me was just pacing smart early. My pacing wasn't great. I don't think the first 2 years, despite having some success, I think I left some on the table with that. So I'll be using that as kind of a big target or point of emphasis, I should say, heading into this year.
Yeah, the performances at this race have really been impressive. You have two sub 14 hours here, and we just saw our first sub 13 hour last year from Dakota Jones. Yeah, I guess how does that play a little bit more into your race strategy? And like, are you excited having been away from this event for a while? Do you feel like a new sense of excitement, no longer living in Phoenix, to kind of return to the course?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast to support some other runners, including my wife at Javelina. So I've definitely kept the Javelina energy in the rotation. But yeah, it's going to be fun to get back on that course. It's just hard to believe it's been 7 years. It feels like not that long ago that I raced it. So I'll have like a bit of excitement from just not being able to race it for a while, but also definitely be motivated from seeing everything that is that event over the last few years.
Do you have any specific gear that you bring out to a race like this? I mean, it's a desert race that you wouldn't maybe normally bring to something else not in the desert.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, in 2016, you taught me about topical cooling. So I'll be planning for that, even though the forecast looks like it's probably going to be a little more reasonable, comparatively speaking, if it holds. But um, yeah, I'll be bringing some stuff. I mean, the desert always presents a drier temperatures, regardless of whether it's hot or not, and that's just going to be a little bit different in terms of how your body is able to essentially use its evaporative cooling process. So I think a lot of topical cooling, ice bandanas, keeping wet when you can is going to be a point of emphasis that I'll always bring into a desert one. And Javelina is definitely one that I think that's a little bit of a bigger emphasis. Another thing I might do is I may just keep an extra bottle along on some of those spots, especially that for that stretch up to Jackass Junction, where during the heat of the day it's a little bit of a longer stretch comparatively to the rest of the course. Now that it's consistently just clockwise direction, you can get that climb aspect to it too. I know the course is relatively flat compared to what you see on trails and mountain races, but that stretch will be one that probably can be a little more difficult for people if the heat picks up in the middle of the day. So having a little bit of extra topical cooling water available during that stretch will be something that I'll be thinking about.
How are you going to approach racing this year with more competition than in past? Are you just going to be out there completely running your own race? Do you kind of like to mix it up with some of the other guys out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to mix it up to some degree. I think it's always fun to have that sort of I'm not out here just grinding on my own type of a incentive there, but I'm going to be doing it what I would consider responsibly. I think generally speaking, I've got a good idea of what I think is probably too fast. So I'm not going to go beyond that, at least in those early stages. And if it happens to be a situation where a lot of people do that, then I will let them go. I think a course like Javelina, even with warm temperatures, can be a fairly even split race. So getting out too aggressively early on, I think just ends up taking time off of the potential. And just the way the course is structured too, I mean, when you get up to Jackass Junction, you've got just some of the most runnable trail you're ever going to see coming down from Jackass into that last aid station before heading into the finish. So I think like being able to really maintain faster splits than average on that section of the course is going to be something that will be useful. And then being that can be the last, or being that that's the last stretch of the race too, and the relative depth of the field, it's very possible that being fast in that section could be the difference between a golden ticket or not, or winning or not, or something like that. So I think pacing early is going to be definitely a big point of emphasis for me. Feeding off the other runners will be a big emphasis for me, but I think there's a line that I'll be careful not to cross when it comes to the early day pacing strategies.
Awesome. We are going to move into our 10-question fartlek round. Zach, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. First one, what sneakers will you be wearing for the Javelina 100?
I'll be wearing the Ultra Mont Blanc Boa.
Will you be listening to music or podcasts during the race?
Probably some spattering of music.
At what age did you stop trick-or-treating?
12, I think.
Are you adding any touches to your gear that are Halloween themed, or are you wearing a costume?
I am doing neither as of now, but may change that with something minor by the start of the race.
Will candy be part of your nutrition plan?
It definitely will be.
What will be your pre-race snack morning of?
I'll be having an S Fuels Life Bar with a cup of coffee morning of.
If you could choose a walkout song for Javelina, what would it be?
For those about to rock AC/DC.
Have you ever hallucinated during an endurance event?
I haven't, no. I need to do a 200 miler, I guess.
Definitely. If you could recommend any running related item to a new runner, what would it be?
Running related item to a new runner. I would say a pair of shoes that feels comfortable and is a natural extension of your foot.
Nice. Great advice. Last question. What place are you finishing at the 2023 Javelina 100?
First. Got to
Yes,
bet on yourself.
absolutely. Awesome, Zach. Well, thanks for taking the time and safe travels next week. We'll see you in the desert.
Perfect. Thanks for chatting, Jamil.